I'm tearing up my lawn. So this lawn's days are numbered. I will be cutting it out next week. I'm really stoked about this. So I thought I would say some tips and tricks for cutting out your sod. So there's a few ways that you can do lawn alternatives. One, you can overseed, which I just did a video on. So I'll link that in the description below, but you can also find it on my lawn alternatives playlist. And it works pretty well if you do it correctly. However, you'll get the best germination of your lawn alternative if you just completely remove the grass that's already here. Because this grass that's here hinders the growth a lot. It hinders the ability for the seed to make contact with the soil. So by removing it, you guarantee that your new lawn alternative, whatever it is making direct contact with the soil. And the other thing is, if this grass is not something that you want, you might as well just actively take it out. What I'm going to be trying in my front yard is actually thyme. And thyme is the most beautiful, soft, wonderful ground cover. It's absolutely glorious to walk on. But if you get grass growing up through thyme, it's a weeding nightmare. So I want to absolutely make sure that all of this grass is completely gone before I plant any thyme in here. Otherwise, it's just going to make a big mess later. So my plan is to remove the grass, water the heck out of the area so that anything that's still in here is encouraged to germinate and grow. Then we can weed that out, and then I will plant my thyme. And I'll continue to water it so that thyme can get established, and to continue to germinate anything that's still in here, whether it be deep grass roots or any weed seeds, so I can keep weeding and keep removing anything that I don't want while the thyme starts to fill in and get established. Once the thyme gets really established and thick, almost nothing grows through it. You'll find a few weeds here and there, but nothing like just bare dirt or even grass. So I'm really stoked to try a thyme lawn in my own yard. So a few tips and tricks for removing sod. One, you want to find a rental place that has a good quality sod cutter for a decent price. I go to River Ridge Hardware, which is down on Garland and Driscoll. It's a wonderful local hardware store that has a rental center, and they have the best prices in town. If you're in Spokane, I highly recommend them. If you're not in Spokane, sorry, you'll have to do your own research on where to get your rental from. Once you get your sod cutter on location, you're going to want to plan straight passes. You cannot turn a sod cutter easily while it's going. So just plan straight passes, pick it up, turn it around at the end, and come back. Try to line up the blade on the cut you just made. And then leave the sod that you cut until you're done with the strip next to it. From what we've found, if you roll immediately and then try to cut back over the area that you rolled and picked up already, the wheels can't get as much grip, and so it's actually much harder to cut the next section. Once you've cut the strip next to it, then you can pick up that first strip. So if you've got a couple of people helping you, they can start picking things up once you're a couple more strips in. So much for the easy part. Now comes removal and disposal. And I'll tell you, this is the most labor-intensive, back-breaking, and expensive part of removing sod. So here's my tricks on that. You can throw the sod in the truck, take it to the dump, and pay a dump fee to dump dirt and grass, or take pictures of it before you cut it, put it up on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or Nextdoor or any of those free social neighborhood apps for free sod. You may not even have to roll it. People will start coming to pick it up and take it off your hands for you. This will save you hours, so much back-breaking labor, and not to mention a whole lot of money in dump fees by just having someone come and take it who wants sod in their own yard. And it doesn't even matter if there's a few weeds. Like, I got a pile of dandelions right here. Nobody's gonna care. The people that want free sod are gonna come get free sod. They don't care if there's weeds in the sod. They just want grass. So, and it's amazing how much response you'll get if you just put free sod online. Once the cutting is done, you'll want to cut out the edges. You do that by hand with a shovel. That way you can get right up close to your trees without actually destroying the roots with the sod cutter. You can get around curved edges like this. And lastly, Once the sod is removed, but again, before you plant, you want to make sure to intentionally germinate any seed bank that still remains in this soil. So you're going to water the heck out of it for a couple of weeks and let things grow and manually dig them out, because there's going to be some grass roots that are down deeper than the sod cutter had cut. Those are going to regrow. And there's most likely going to be a few weed seeds in here, sometimes more than a few. Just, they're going to be here. So let's germinate them on purpose and manually remove them before we start to try to plant anything that we want. So make sure to plan accordingly to get rid of weeds before you plant your lawn alternative. Make sure you give yourself enough time to grow that lawn alternative before the heat of summer or the cold of winter. So you want to make sure if you're seeding, you still give yourself at least 6 weeks before it gets hot or frost. That'll give you your window of seeding, and then count at least 2 to 3 weeks before that to cut your sod. And that's how to time that, and a few tips to get it done easily and least expensive. We just got the flagstone down and I couldn't be happier. Look at this, it's gorgeous. We're not doing flagstone like correctly. I'm not putting down foundation sand or anything like that. We're just setting it on the dirt and then we're going to shift it and make sure it's level. But that's really all we're doing here. And then I'm going to plant some thyme all throughout wherever there would have been lawn. And we've added a whole bunch of natives. They're still really tiny, but just extra things left over from clients' projects or that I bought last year or whatever. I've been overwintering for however many years they've been here. I just put them in the ground. I'm like, I'm done. We're planting them. Here they are. They're all natives and drought-tolerant things. So everything out here should not need water once it's established. The stuff up by the house will still get water. And I still have some spring bulbs to put in, like canna lilies and stuff that's not native, but it's gorgeous because it just really gives it a pop. Makes the whole thing beautiful. And so that's all happening. There's just a lot happening in my yard right now, and I'm super stoked about it. So here it is. I love it. I love the pathway. I love how it's filling in. We put a lot more plants in here than I originally had intended, so there's not really much room left for the thyme lawn, but we did plant the thyme. A lot of it's been in the pots for a couple of years, so some of it died before I got it in there. Probably saw that earlier in the video. But I planted it anyway because plants are resilient and they might surprise you. So I thought, I'm going to plant them. I'm not going to throw them away. They'll either come back or they won't. I'll plant some more to fill in later. This garden is going to take about 2 years before it really fills in, because natives take some time. They do the sleep, creep, leap thing. So this is their first year where they're going to sleep. They're going to stay small. Next year, they're going to kind of creep with their roots. And then the following year is when they're going to be big and gorgeous and full and just amazing. And this whole yard's going to be breathtaking at that point. But for right now, I am so happy. I love it. Oh, and also, all of my spring bulbs, they're starting to come up. I'm a little disappointed with how few of them are actually up yet and how small they are. It's now mid-July as I'm filming this. So the canna lilies are growing. I have one little caladium over here. It's kind of pathetic. There was supposed to be a whole hedgerow of caladiums and canna lilies all back here, but they're kind of meh. So the thing is, they need a lot more water. They're on the watered side of my yard, but I really don't water this enough for them, and I think that's probably the problem there. But anyway, I digress. I'm happy with my project. It's fabulous. So on that note, everybody, thanks so much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to tell me by hitting the like button. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do that so you'll get more gardening content in your video feed every week. Thanks so much for watching, guys. See you in the garden.